Hello, vector artists of the internet and other weirdos, and welcome to another astonishingly educational and informative Adobe Illustrator tutorial video. I'm Mark Shears, the Illustrator Geek, and today, isometric objects. We're going to talk about what they are. We're going to create a simple isometric rectangular box, and we're going to create a set of actions in the Actions panel that will allow you to create more isometric images in the future more quickly and efficiently. So isometric objects, they are of course those sort of 3D top-down view. You see these commonly in architectural drawings or instructional pamphlets, or sometimes those 3D college campus maps, or you also see these sometimes in those sort of 3D video games, strategy type games like Civilization, where the action plays out in sort of this three-dimensional, this plane, this world, this flat surface of a world, and you're looking kind of top down. Also just art. Sometimes these are just done as art. There's somebody I follow on Instagram who I really like, and I'll link below, and she just does some really fantastically beautiful art illustrations in isometric form. Now the word itself comes from the Greek isos, meaning same or equal, and metria, having to do with measurements. So it's the same measurements. And if you take a look here, let's go over to my screen and take a look. You can see that if this is the sort of the two-dimensional front-on view of a cube that's 100 by 100 pixels, when it becomes three-dimensional, all the sides are still 100 pixels. Now you could confirm this just by using your ruler tool, which I'm not going to take the time to do, but you could measure these and you can show that they're 100 pixels. Notice too that isometric does not mean perspective, and I'm going to zoom out here and find an example. In a perspective drawing, there are the parallel lines of a box or a rectangle or a cube or whatever. The parallel lines actually converge towards the horizon. As you can see here, they converge towards the horizon and they meet at vanishing points. So this is a vanishing point and that's a vanishing point. Whereas an isometric object, by contrast, the parallel lines are strictly parallel. They never actually converge on a vanishing point on the horizon. The result is that an isometric object is not strictly drawn in perspective. So when I said earlier that there's sort of that three-dimensional top-down view, I did not say that they are a perspective view. And the result is, like I say, the perspective is slightly distorted. It's not something you notice until you really zoom in on it in isolation, and then it really does start to look distorted. And I can show you, like, just these 2 points just really need to be brought up and even in a little bit. And then it's like, yeah, the perspective looks better that way. And if I undo that, you can see, yeah, it definitely looks distorted. Now it's funny because the farther out you zoom, the less of a problem it seems to be, the less distorted it looks. And it also, when it's filling a plane like it is here, it's not really that noticeable. So we're going to create the simple, let's go back over here. We're going to create this simple rectangular shape, and as we do, we'll create some actions in the actions palette. Now you can see the way these are constructed is it has a left side, a right side, and a top, and in the flattened view it has a left side, a right side, and the top side. And think about like maybe a cardboard box being flattened and laid on the ground. Now this is the top, corresponds to the top over here. Oops. And then you also have the front corresponding to the front over there, and you have the side corresponding to the side over there. Now notice too, the top might be oriented over the left side, in which case we need some actions that are going to manipulate and rotate it in a clockwise direction, or it might be, the top might be oriented over the right side, in which case we can use a set of actions that will manipulate and rotate it in a counterclockwise direction. So we're going to create a set of actions for both. So let's get started by going to the Actions panel, and we'll just create a whole new folder to begin with and call it Isometric Actions. And we will create our first action. Let's call it Left Side. Record. So I'm clicking that. Then the first thing we're going to do is scale this. I'm going to scale it to horizontal 86.603%. Vertically it stays at 100%. If you're wondering why it's 86.603%, it's because of math and trigonometry and the cosines. And you know what? I was going to get into all of that, but that could be its whole own video. I don't want to take too much time. Okay, after we have scaled it, we are going to shear it by 30%. So go over to your shear tool, double click, and it's going to shear angles 30, but make sure it's on the vertical axis. And let's just preview it real quickly just to make sure it's correct. Yes, that is correct, so hit OK. And that's all there is to it. So let's go back over to the Actions panel, hit Stop. We already have our first action done. So now let's create an action for the right side. So create new action. We'll call it Right Side. Record. And select that. Now, selecting itself is not recorded in the action. I could select these all day long and nothing's going to be recorded. Just don't do anything else. So anyway, go back over to scale. It's going to do the same thing as far as the scale. It's going to be 86.603% horizontal and 100% vertical. And then for the shearing, it's actually going to be negative 30 degrees, still on the vertical axis. Preview to make sure it's okay. It is okay, so we are done with that action. So I'm going to hit Stop. Now the top is a little bit more complex. So I'm going to refer to my crib notes after I have a sip of tea. Okay, for the top, let's go to create a new action, and we're going to call it Top Over Left, because it's going to be different than when we do the top over the right. So record. The first thing we're going to do again is to scale it, but this time horizontally it's going to be 100% and vertically 86.603%. Hit OK. Now shearing, we're going to select the shear tool and we're going to go 30 degrees on the horizontal axis. 30 degrees on the horizontal axis. Hit OK. And finally we're going to hit rotate, and we're going to rotate negative 30 degrees. Stop the action, and there we go. Now as you can see, I've got three pieces. If I move them into place, it forms a really nice little rectangular box. But I need to create an action for the top when it's over the right side. So finally, the last action here, we will go call it Top Over Right. Record. Start with the scale tool. Like the other top, it's going to be 186.603%. Then we are also going to shear it. Shearing it is negative 30 degrees horizontally. And rotation is 30 degrees. So you can see that the shearing and the rotation values are both exactly the opposite of what they were for the other side. And don't forget to hit Stop on your action. So we're done. So let's play the left side action here. Let's play the right side action here. You could even do keyboard shortcuts for these if you really wanted to get slick about it. And you can see everything's working out great. Okay, let's take a moment to save our actions. Go back over to the Actions panel and select the folder containing the actions that you want to save. and go over to the flyout and go down to Save Actions, and then you can navigate to whatever folder you want to use. And then right here, save. I'll just call it Isometric Actions. Save. And there we go. We have saved our isometric actions. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just test out our actions by creating a couple of isometric shapes using the actions. And we're going to create this little Nike shoebox. And I've created a handful of these are the flattened shapes, right? You've got the left side of the box, you've got the right side of the box, and you have the top of the box. And the top also contains a left and a right side, and then shadow down at the bottom. So this is a top, and it's over the right side, so we need to use our top over right action. This is a right side, so use the right action. This is a left side, so hit the play the left action. This is also a left side, we'll play the left action again, and this is a right side, so play the right action. And then this is the shadow at the bottom, and it kind of corresponds to the top, so it actually gets on the top, and it was over the right. Oops. So use the top over right. And now it's just a matter of arranging these. I select it with a black arrow, and I immediately keyboard shortcut A to bring up the direct select, because that allows me to select just that anchor point, and when the anchor point clicks over the matches up with an existing anchor point, the arrow turns white, and I hope you can see that on the screen capture. Watch the black arrow turn white. That means it's exactly lined up. Now this one will move there. So we're going to move over here, and the shadow can just move right underneath there. I don't know, I might actually let that. There we go. And there you have it. Just for fun, what the heck? Let's create this Rubik's Cube. Just making a few copies of this. This is top over left. Play top over or left side. Sorry, left side and right side. Again, select with the black, immediately shift to white and drag over. Boom, it's that easy. Once you've got those actions in place, it's that easy. Oh boy, here we go. Now we're going to leave those alone. So next time what we're going to do is create a set of actions that'll undo everything that the actions we just created to do. In other words, it'll take the 3D shape and flatten it back down into its component pieces using actions. So that'll be kind of fun and kind of interesting, because all you're going to do is take the actions and reverse the order of them. So that's it. Thanks for watching this episode of the Illustrator Geek, and hopefully you learned a few things about isometric objects and how to make them and how to make the actions. And of course the real fun is getting in there yourself and exploring and experimenting and figuring out how you can do these things in Illustrator. So hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell, leave a comment, let me know what you'd like to see in the future. Follow me on Instagram. I'm Illustrator Geek on Instagram. And one of these days I'll start a Patreon page, so y'all have a place to send me gobs of money. I'd have fun anyway, even without getting any money for this. Although, might be nice someday. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, be safe, and go create some really cool art.